Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to draw your own sprite. I'm just going to start out by giving you a few little tips and tricks, and then you can play with it to figure out some more complicated things that you can do. To start out with, I'm going to delete the sprite so that I have a blank screen to play with. So I control click on my cat. I come down, I'm going to click delete. So now that I have a blank screen here to play with. Now to make my own sprite, I'm going to come over to the paintbrush. Click on the paintbrush to paint myself a new sprite. Okay, and then these are the tools that, and you probably just want to spend some time playing around with each one of them. I'll show you a couple of tools. We're going to click on the brush tool, and then I can select colors by going to the bottom of the screen. So right now I'm working with a line. So if I come over here and draw, do that with my paintbrush tool. If I want the line to be smaller, I come down here to the bottom left hand corner and I can change the width of my line as I paint. So you can play around with whatever color you need. Okay. This is a line tool. It draws a nice straight line for you. If you want it to be horizontal or straight vertical, you can hold down your shift key and it'll keep it nice and straight. Okay, and it'll do either horizontal or vertical. Okay, either one you want. I can come down here to change the color, so I'm going to go pink, draw a rectangle. Okay, and I can fill it by clicking on the paint bucket and choosing a fill color, and then clicking inside the box, and that paints it. So now you notice I can't paint this because it's not closed in. If I click the fill button here, it's going to fill my whole screen. So be careful, where you click. To undo, I can come up here to this arrow key and undo anything that I've done. So that will come in handy. Text tool does just what it says. You can type text. Right, that's yellow. You may not be able to see that. I'm going to pick a blue. Okay, hi. You have eraser tool, so I can come in and erase things off the screen. And that comes in handy. This is a selection tool. It's where I can select if I want to select this object and move it, because right now I can't move it. But if I want to select it, I can do this. And now I can come to the center of the screen and move it. You can see I had two parts to it, and that's probably where I duplicated it. So the selection tool comes in handy. I can also use it to cut. This is how I did the Santa hat. So I select a part of the screen. If I want to cut off that part of the rectangle, I hit delete. Okay, and you can see I deleted that part of the rectangle. I can also select and clone, and I do that by making a selection. So I come here, let's say I'm going to cut off this end of this little pond, and click on the stamp tool. It will duplicate this. So I hit duplicate. I'm supposed to be able to do that. And there we go. And then I pull it off, and you can see I did this more than once. So hit the stamp, duplicate, and then I can use just that part of the object. Okay. And now then I can, if I need to move that, I can select it and move it around the screen. And I hope that will get you started. I think that gives you enough tools. Let's just draw. I want to show you how you would use it in a Scratch project. So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm just going to come up here and click clear. And let's just draw a stick figure. Okay, so I'm going to start with the head. Let's do it in red. Okay, so here's my stick figure person. Okay, and then I think I'm going to draw a body. I like to make my body out of a triangle, so I'm just going to draw 3 lines. Okay, and now let's give him some arms. Okay, give him another arm and set of legs. Okay, maybe a couple of eyes. Okay, and there's my stick figure person. And you can see they're showing up over here on my stage, so now I can animate them. Now one thing you might want to do, let's color the clothes on this person. I'm going to pick the fill button, and let's give them blue. Oh. Now it did that because, right, if you notice, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. The reason it filled the whole screen is I didn't close my triangle. So I need to go back and close that. So when I spilled my paint inside the body, it came out of these edges. So I'm glad that it did that so that we could show you that. So I click on I need to close that line. So I'm going to come back over here. Oh, I drew it in red. Let's undo that. I'm going to I need to come down here and pick red. Come back and close that there, and I can close it here. Okay, now then I've closed it, I should be able to use the paint bucket to fill it. Let's give them blue body. There we go. Now that worked a little bit better. Okay. Now then I can duplicate this to create another costume if I want to have them change between costumes. It looks kind of funny without a mouth. That's just bothering me. Let's put a little mouth on him. Let's do that in red. How's that? Now then I can duplicate this costume if I come over here to this little stage area, hit Control and duplicate. Now you can see I have 2 costumes. So in the second costume, if I wanted him to have a different color dress, then all I would have to do is pick my paint bucket and go, let's give them yellow. Okay. And now then I have 2 different costumes. Okay, now the only other thing that we need to do is show you how to name your sprite. I come up here to the box at the top, and I can click in here and name this sprite so that I can find it and use it later on in my project. And I just named it stick figure. This would be my costume stick figure 2. And I can name this one stick figure 1. Okay, and now then you can find those costumes and use them later in your project. Okay, last but not least, I have a couple of tools at the top of the page that I need to show you. So in the last part of this video, I just want to show you a couple of new tools here at the top of the page. This is your crop tool, so if you wanted to crop down, and this is not in a format that can be cropped, but if you see that not grayed out, you know that you can use it. And we'll go over that in a little bit more detail later, but this is your flip left and right, so you can change the way that it's facing, or flip up and down. Okay, so that'll rotate it that way as well. This is the one that I'm most concerned, that is the most handy. Whenever you create a new tool, a new sprite, or you resize it, it resets the center, and this will sets the rotation so that it'll rotate around a pivot point that you want in the middle of your page. It also makes your X and Y nice and neat. Whenever you start telling your sprite to move to a position, it's going to do it on the center. So if I click on this tool, you'll see we get the crosshairs. And if I will come over here and drag this to the center of my page, of my sprite, that will give me the real center. Okay, and I will zoom out a little bit here. Oh, zoom back here. Did that earlier as well. See if I can find her again. You can see that this is now set in the center, so she'll be nice and neat whenever we use her in our programs. So you want to make sure that you set that rotational center before you leave Scratch. I think that's it. You guys have fun playing with your sprite, and don't forget to center. Well, I hope this gives you enough to start with. Good luck. Start playing around with these tools so you feel comfortable using them, and draw your spaceship.